you will see the tragedy. And you will also see the intent of the DA, how they've relocated the homeless people.
I'm not there to make promises to people. I want to listen. I've come out and you can see that I'm not really making promises to people. I just want to listen to what the issues are. But at the same time, this gives us an opportunity to also pay homage to people like Puta Kasim that is on the ground doing what the government is supposed to do. The government is supposed to attend to the people. People are still living without roofs over their heads. They are still below the breadline. That is not the onus of the citizens that are struggling. That is the onus of the government, and they were supposed to attend to that. They're failing at that, but we are here just to understand. So and God willing, if we get that opportunity to go into parliament in any way as a party that's now running, then one of the things is that I want to sit with all these videos and I want to sit with all the notes that I take and say, what is it that I went to go and listen to that the public needs help with?
If you look at the deck, where they restored the deck, refurbished it for taxis, the overflow and those that they say are sort of, I don't know if they are legal or illegal, they have now been parking here on New Hanover Street. It's become a public urinal where human feces, urine and all that. So the DA has also put up boards on the open land spaces saying that they have an interdict on this land. They have no interdict. 100, they have no right to be granted an interdict. Their primary obligation is services. That's their obligation. They were not force removed from District 6. So, there's so many unjust things that have happened here that we have to unpack it. We have to get a land audit. We have to get a forensic audit. We have to understand how 153 hectares is now less than 42 hectares of land.
District 6, in terms of its own development, is how old and how long? We don't know, because we only hear from Van Riebeeck that came, and then afterwards took context there. So, and what has happened to the people and the mixtures that came about can tell many a story. And you can also see on people's faces, and the type of human beings that develop through the times. Apart from the whole secular education, there wasn't much that time because they were enslaving the people, the majority of the people here. And if you think in terms of District 6, it was enslavement. People couldn't own homes in a way until about 1860 or 1870, which my family, my forebears, owned then, paying 300 golden guldens. I don't know these three. I'm shocked to have discovered all these things quite recently with the advocacy group, because they underplayed what has happened in District 6. The council, city council, do not tell the people there were over 200 registered homeowners on there. And when we went to go and explore our things, we were shocked, you see. So, and if we think in terms of what's happening in Palestine and these kind of things, it all interconnect because it's all the same stories.
You're saying something so critical, because I've been saying it for a while. I've been saying that, and I don't want to politicize the discussion. I've been sitting on the sides watching for too long, being involved with a lot of other things. But what I've noticed is that this issue where you mentioned that Palestine is intertwined in what we see here, it is intertwined. Oppression has just taken a different form in my view. Then what we find again here is that is the current government here, are they using the vote of the poor people to continue empowering those that do have? And that's a question I need to ask. And then is that also to keep certain people there that is still continuing to socially engineer our society like they have with the apartheid legislation in the past? It was apartheid legislation in terms of the Group Areas Act. Does it continue, but in a softer corporate form? And does it continue still to manipulate places like District 6?
You know, it's true. When I was sitting and looking through at TV, all this, it just touched one's heart because it's one's own upbringing and its own trauma that one went through here. For example, do you know, I was writing matric. I couldn't write it, but I went to try. It was one of my biggest and hardest and most traumatic experience in my life, even up to now. I left when freedom came about here because I needed to get unconditioned of the process that was happening here to the peoples. And, you know, so coming to, as I say, with Palestine and all the other people in the world, the whole thing is happening. And we think it is going away because there's so many groups doing this and that and this. The whole development is not fast enough. So I lament, and I don't know. I've taken a backseat at the moment, but Tanya just said to me, no, we have to revive this whole thing. And I said to her, yes, you're right. We have to do this because look what is happening there now in the worst form that we see. In the deaths, I've never seen it from. I trained at Rutske as a professional nurse, as a public health worker, all these things. And then I went through Africa because I married a German person who was then in charge of Africa region for nutrition. And was that for me an eye-opener far more. And you see all these things taking place in another form, in a softer form, and so on. But it's there, and they wait again, to get to it, and then to, you know, enslave the people.
When we look at District 6 from an outward perspective, we see some people living here and not living here at the moment. You think, okay, so this was the remedy, putting this up, the structures. Was that really fully the remedy? Or are there still challenges that are not spoken about? Because I think it's one thing to get the media here to put the key in the door and say, hey, we solved the problem of the apartheid legislation and the Group Areas Act. We've remedied the situation. But then once you get down and you start speaking to the people, there's a very different story that still permeates today.
No, nothing has changed. Hence, I left to get unconditioned, to see the thing as I'm coming back, to see truly through open eyes. And nothing has changed here. We have been trying to establish and tell the people, come to claim, come to take your place here. I don't know what it is. People are so traumatized. It was a traumatized situation we came from. And they are still, and then they're very old because the younger folks, when we experience trying to get to, you know, develop the advocacy group, with a handful of people, and it's the same few.
Thank you for this. It's been a fantastic morning for me to visit you, but also to get the insight. I think I got more than I bargained for, from the point of view that your historical account, your understanding and your worldview and frame of reference is fairly broad, and it's given me a different dimension. I think it's again about that thing for me, that if you're in something, you just don't know what's out there. And here I ran into somebody that just is so well informed and is able to connect the dots between what we experience locally, what's happening internationally, and how I say that some people belong to the same WhatsApp group.
Same people, type of persons you find everywhere else in the world.
One cannot comprehend the depth of what has happened here with blue chip property right on the slopes. We're on the foothills of Hurikwago. And this is where land resistance truly, you know, if you look at the establishment of the fort, we still have names today like Bloemhof, you know, Kaiserkracht. Zonnebloem. Those are still colonial names that's been re-entrenched, with from the time of Jan van Riebeeck. That's why we also have a sanctuary that we established here. We are standing here at the Krotoa Sanctuary, and the reason why we established this sanctuary is to pay homage to Krotoa. In 2015, we had met with Patricia DeLaw, and we had asked her for the removal of a bench that was designed by the Rock Girls, a symbol of total disrespect to a formidable matriarch. And what happened was that you could actually place your behind on the semblance of her face. And as a woman, we approached the mayor at the time and told her for that bench to be removed. It was not removed, and we decided to do it ourselves. We were then incarcerated. 7 of us were arrested. Today, you find the very DA wanting to talk about the significance of a cultural heritage center, which is being established at the River Club, and also a dome that they call is a relic of a Machihuis. But the true matriarch, Krotoa, was disrespected, where we were even labeled as thugs in 2015 by the very DA that is now wanting to score political points on the demise of the anguish of the generations of extermination, of dehumanization.